Hi there, and welcome to Lost in Literature. I know it's been a long time, and it really feels good to be back, though. I kind of, get the feeling that I'm a stranger here in my own channel. Just imagine. Um, I thought today I'll take up When Great Trees Fall by Maya Angelou. And I don't know, when I read the title of the poem itself, I was wondering whether she was going to talk about trees and how we are destroying forests. So I kept wondering. The poem turned out to be something far more nuanced than that. She's talking about great trees here, all right? And these are trees that are really large, gigantic, with these huge canopies and kind of holding sway over the entire forest. And what kind of benefits do you think they bring to the creatures living in the forest there and to us? It's a big resource for us also. Well, almost every part of the tree is useful. They provide, first of all, shade and protection for the living creatures in the forest. They're the home of so many birds, and then they nurture them also in terms of food, shelter, and somehow a lot of living beings depend on trees, particularly the arboreal creatures that live there. All right? With these advantages in mind, let's go on to stanza one. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. So, the poet now is talking actually about a huge, big tree crashing down, literally thundering down, right, and measuring its length on the ground. And you can imagine the picture of it, the roots just, pulled out of the ground, leaving this huge cavern there. And I mean, it's literally torn away from its moorings, the tree. And when such a fall occurs in the forest, there is bound to be after effects. And it's not just the animals that live there that are affected, not just the creatures, but also the land itself. Rocks literally shudder in the sense that the vibration caused by the fall reaches across to the rocks. And then you have animals like lions, which are really fierce, the king of the jungle. Such beasts are affected by the fall of the tree. So they hunker down, they crouch literally down in the grass, not knowing what's going on. Such is the impact of a tree crashing down. And they hide in the tall grasses because they don't know what's coming after that kind of a sound, and the vibrations that they too can feel. And look at elephants. She also takes the trouble to mention elephants because they are the largest of beasts, and yet they are affected by the falling of a tree. So she has spoken of two kinds of animals here, the really fierce ones and also the ones which are huge in size. But all of them are affected. One thing I particularly liked in this stanza is, the dynamic verbs she uses, like shudder. You can literally feel the strong tremors, running through the rocks, and the hunkering down of the lions, hunkering down, crouching low. And elephants lumber after safety, lumber. They go plodding. You can't expect it to, even if it runs, it would be very, very heavily and slowly, plods. All right. So that is stanza one, where, she talks about the tree and its fall, rather dramatic, and the um, result of it, the consequences of the tree falling, and how it affects all the inanimate and animate creatures and objects, of course. All right, on to second stanza. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. So there you are. These trees, when they fall in forests, and by using the word forest, she gives us a picture of the immensity of the forest, the huge forest, and the tree, you know, and it is contrasted with even the smallest of insect, which recoils, withdraws itself, all right, into muteness, silence, doesn't know what's happening. So just, you know, curls, draws into itself, and their senses are completely eaten away, eroded, completely diminished. They, they are beyond fear, literally, in the sense that their senses have just vanished. They can't even perceive fear. To that extent, even those small insects are affected by the fall of a great tree in a huge, big forest. In fact, the fall affects the entire forest. That is the magnitude of the fall. All right, fantastic, isn't it? All right, let's go on to the third stanza. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Look at that. What does Maya Angelou mean? When this I found this rather bewildering, the air around us becoming light, rare, and sterile. And then it kind of struck me that what she's talking about really is how, suddenly we experience a kind of hollowness within us. We hear the news of somebody dead, the passing away of, let's say, a great soul. It hits us, and you know we are we experience our insides literally plummeting, and it has that kind of an effect on us. And suddenly we forget all our bodily awareness, sensations. Otherwise, the whole day we are thinking, we are concerned about our body, our, struggles, doing things during the day, our tensions. All these things crowd our mind. But suddenly we are reduced to a state of, let's say, a kind of emptiness. We feel a kind of weightlessness because we are not aware of the body anymore. We even breathe just briefly, and it happens instinctively because all the processes have suddenly come to a stop, to a lull, and we feel light. And this is a very unusual sensation for us. All right? We are no longer preoccupied with our daily struggles. And suddenly, everything seems so pure. Pure in the sense there is some kind of a receptivity about it to outward influences. It's that pure. And what happens? We breathe briefly. right? Briefly. Our eyes briefly for that little bit of time when we are going through this kind of an intense, you know, feeling of emptiness. Suddenly our senses are sharpened because we are no longer clouded by everyday impressions of survival, of living. We are suddenly, you know, able to see with sharpness, able to perceive things clearly. We are able to understand things in a clear manner. Like, for instance, we experience a kind of hurtful clarity. Hurtful because we are sorry. We are feeling sore that a great person has departed from the world. And we are also sorry that, you know, we didn't interact more with this person. Everything comes to us. All right, let's go on to the next few lines. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, knows on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. So that's what happens when we are able to look at things with understanding, with a lot of, um, let me look for another word for clarity, in a clear manner, without any cloudiness. When everything comes through, in the correct perspective to us, then we realize that we had missed so much of these great people during our lives, during their lives, in fact. We didn't pay heed to their words, to their wise, sagacious words. We didn't do things that they advised us to do. We didn't better ourselves. And then we didn't even do things that we made promises for. We didn't do anything. And then it hits us, their absence, even more. So, moving on to the next part, great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. See, when great souls die, suddenly, we realize that there is an abyss. There is a kind of emptiness in us. There is no more connection with them. All right? Look at the way Maya Angelou has taken the concept of a tree and worked it into a metaphor and bridged it over to people, to great souls passing away. And suddenly we are bereft without them, without their guidance, without their wisdom. We are lost. All right? Our souls, which depended upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. So all of a sudden, we feel their lack of presence and we shrink, literally. They were the ones with filling us up with energy and good thoughts and goodwill and making our life worth living with all the positive things that they told us. And now suddenly our world is shrunk without them. We're all dried up, wizened. Our minds formed and informed by their radiance fall away. They filled our life with the brightness of their presence. We could see the way clearly with them. We may not have followed them, but we could see the way. And now that's gone. There is nobody to guide us. We are not so much maddened. See, it's not that we are crazed by their absence or anything, but I mean, it's not that dramatic, but definitely we feel diminished, reduced, brought down to a state of utter ignorance. We are not even able to fathom out and articulate the kind of ignorance we feel. It's as if we are trapped in the ignorance of dark, cold caves, dark as in contrast with the radiance of their presence. And now, without them, we are no longer in a bright world. We have been left tangled in the undergrowths of the forest, searching for our way. We don't know how to come out from the dense forest. We have lost our way. We are lost without these souls. So let's go on to the final stanza. Very, very interesting the way Maya Angelou has developed this poem. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. That's another aspect. We can't grieve forever because that's not the nature of things. We do recover slowly, gradually, just like nature does. When a great tree has fallen, then nature takes its time and slowly the greenery again sprouts, comes up, grows. It's a cycle. So we come out of it, but not, you know, rapidly or in a progressive manner, but in fits and starts. It's abrupt, the growth. Spaces fill with a kind of smooth electric vibration. Once again, there is life. Okay, the great tree is dead, but slowly life comes back, enlivening, animating everything around it, because that's how nature is. It recovers, it grows again, right? And it fills, the whole place is filled with the kind of vibration of growth, because life is movement, death is lack of motion, stillness. So slowly nature as well as people slowly get back to normalcy. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us they existed. Yes, they existed. That's the point. Our senses return. We become normal. We come to terms with their passing away. But are we the same? No, because they've left an impact right on us. They have influenced us. And during that period when they went away, they died. We definitely miss them. And their words and actions came back to us. It came back. Our memories blossomed slowly. All right? Their words came back, and we realize yes, they existed. It's true, they existed. They showed the way. They left footprints in the sands of time, right? And that is to guide us. They existed, and we can be. That is another thought that comes to us. We can definitely emulate these great men and at least become, try to become, reach their heights of goodwill and noble actions. We can try, we can work on our own nature, become better people, be and be better. surely we can be better because we have watched them and we have also realized that they will never fully be forgotten. Their influence will always remain in spirit on earth because they existed, and they lived in a good manner. I think it's a brilliant poem, and I hope you enjoyed this. And if my explanation made the poem um clearer to you, please do subscribe to my channel, Lost in Literature, and I hope to see you time and again. Bye for now.